Imagine a sprawling, intricate, automated assembly line operating entirely in the dark. Human workers are no longer on the factory floor. They are not turning wrenches. They are not manually moving parts. Instead, they are elevated in a brightly lit, glass-walled control room above. They are frantically monitoring digital dials. They are setting strict operational boundaries. They stand ready to pull the emergency brake as autonomous machines build and modify themselves at blinding speeds below. This is not a vision of industrial manufacturing. This is the new architecture of enterprise software in 2026. For most of the past decade, artificial intelligence in the enterprise has arrived politely. It waited for prompts, it offered suggestions, it assisted, summarized, and recommended. It never acted without being asked. The era of the politely waiting AI copilot is over. We are now in the age of systems that act with intent once a goal is defined. The data dictates this reality. By the end of 2026, 40% of enterprise applications will be integrated with task-specific AI agents. This is a staggering acceleration from less than 5% in 2025. The economic gravity is shifting entirely. Gartner projects that agentic AI could drive approximately 30% of enterprise application software revenue by 2035. That represents a market surpassing $450 billion, up from a mere 2% in 2025. This is not speculative futurism. It is strategic execution. Economic value is rapidly shifting from generating insights to autonomous execution. To survive, humans must pivot from manual task completion to orchestrating and governing a silicon-based workforce. The timeline of enterprise adoption has been brutal and fast. In 2023, enterprises experimented with generative AI. In 2024, they piloted copilots. In 2025, they scaled automation. In 2026, they are deploying autonomous AI agents. It is crucial to understand the mechanical difference. Copilots are inherently reactive. They respond only to prompts. They cease activity once the interaction concludes. They increase accessibility by reducing friction, but they do not move work forward on their own. AI agents operate differently. In 2026, AI agents are autonomous or semi-autonomous systems capable of planning and executing multi-step workflows. They receive objectives, they evaluate constraints, they interact with other systems, and they persist in execution until achieving the goal or requiring escalation. They orchestrate actions across enterprise resource planning, customer relationship management, and collaboration systems. Unlike traditional automation tools, agents interpret context, adapt to changing inputs, and coordinate across dynamic environments. The distinction is critical. Automation executes predefined tasks, whereas agents own processes. In large enterprises, work rarely stalls because people cannot decide what to do. It stalls in the gaps. It stalls between approvals, handoffs, reconciliations, and follow-ups. Autonomous AI agents are being deployed precisely in those gaps. This is where human attention is expensive and delays compound. Tasks that historically took weeks of cross-team coordination are collapsing into hours. Consider the software development lifecycle. At Rakuten, engineers tested an agent to implement a specific extraction method in a massive open source library containing millions of lines of code. The agent finished the entire job in 7 hours of autonomous work. It achieved near perfect numerical accuracy compared to the reference method. At Cred, a fintech platform, Engineers implemented agentic systems across their development lifecycle, doubling execution speed. The process is continuous. Progress itself serves as the primary output. The friction is eliminated. Execution has moved from human-driven to autonomously executed. This shift fundamentally rewires the human workforce. Gartner predicts that 15% of day-to-day enterprise work decisions will be made autonomously through agentic AI by 2028. This is a massive leap from 0% in 2024. We are witnessing the birth of a silicon-based workforce. This new digital labor pool requires entirely new operational and human resource frameworks. Organizations must build systems for digital onboarding. Agents require training in the enterprise's unique data and operations, while their human supervisors require concurrent education on how to leverage them. Performance management diverges completely from human metrics. Because agents generate massive volumes of data, organizations require robust systems to prove what agents did, why they made specific decisions, and under whose authority they acted. This requires digital identity systems. It requires cryptographic receipts for transactions. It requires immutable logs for every agent action. There is even lifecycle management for agents. Organizations are beginning to assign individual names to agents to track productivity contributions. They recognize that digital workers may eventually be subject to taxation, similar to human employees. This transformation forces the operating model for human workers to shift. The new mandate is delegate, review, and own. Engineers and knowledge workers will spend less time writing foundational code or executing routine steps. Their focus shifts to system architecture, setting guardrails, and strategic governance, rather than manual creation. Humans are moving toward two primary areas of focus. First, compliance and governance, focusing on validation, oversight, and building guardrails for agent operations. Second, growth and innovation, identifying new opportunities that emerge from agent capabilities. At the insurance company Mafre, agents handle routine administrative tasks like damage assessments, yet a human is always in the loop for sensitive customer communication, ensuring a system that is hybrid by design. At Moderna, the appointment of a chief people and digital technology officer combined HR and IT functions to think about work planning regardless of whether a person or a technology performs the task. The human role is elevating from creation to curation. The financial upside of this shift is an execution premium that capital markets cannot ignore. Early AI-centric organizations are achieving 20 to 40% reductions in operating costs. They are seeing 12 to 14-point increases in EBITDA margins. This is driven by automation, faster cycle times, and the efficient allocation of talent and infrastructure. The true execution premium unlocks when single agents evolve into coordinated teams. By 2027, Gartner predicts 1/3 of agentic AI implementations will combine multiple specialized agents with different skills to collaboratively manage complex environments. The first wave of generative AI was monolithic. The new paradigm is a microservices approach to AI. Organizations are deploying numerous smaller specialized agents across various platforms closer to where workflow instructions and data reside. They communicate through emerging standards like the Model Context Protocol, the Agent-to-Agent Protocol, and the Agent Communication Protocol. This multi-agent orchestration delivers aggressive enterprise economics. Consider Fountain, a frontline workforce management platform. They achieved 50% faster screening and 40% quicker candidate onboarding. They accomplished this by utilizing a central orchestration agent. This central agent coordinates specialized sub-agents for candidate screening, automated document generation, and sentiment analysis. This hierarchical architecture enabled logistics clients to cut the time required to fully staff a new fulfillment center from weeks to less than 72 hours. However, these agents operate continuously. Poorly configured agent interactions can trigger unpredictable resource consumption and ballooning costs. Organizations require specialized financial operations frameworks, or FinOps, for agents. These frameworks monitor and control agent-driven expenses, account for token-based pricing models, and track costs through resource tagging and real-time monitoring. AI must be economically accountable. With autonomous execution comes catastrophic operational risk. The greatest enterprise risk in 2026 is not under adoption of AI agents. It is unstructured adoption. When systems act independently, errors propagate quickly. They move across customers, revenue lines, and compliance boundaries at machine speed. McKinsey reports that nearly half of organizations using generative AI have faced negative outcomes. Crucially, these failures are primarily due to missing controls rather than model failure. Without embedded governance, organizations face compliance exposure, data leakage, operational errors, and reputational damage. Autonomous systems can access sensitive financial data, trigger cross-system transactions, and influence operational decisions without direct human oversight. The mathematics of autonomous failure are unforgiving. Statistically, if an agent workflow has a 95% accuracy rate per step, reliability plummets to just 60% by step 10 in a complex autonomous process. Because most autonomous systems require 20 or more steps, the numbers degrade rapidly. An AI agent must plan the approach, execute multiple API calls, handle responses, make decisions at each branch, recover errors, and format the final output. Unlike humans who intuitively course correct, these systems compound their errors. This reframes the black box problem. Executive concerns now center on operational ambiguity rather than technical opacity. A system becomes a black box when its actions cannot be clearly explained or predicted under new conditions. Because systems are acting independently, absolute observability and auditability are now non-negotiable architectural requirements. Trust is insufficient when AI executes actions autonomously. Executives must know exactly what inputs the system used, what actions it took, and where it escalated. Governance in this context is not about slowing execution. It is about making autonomy legible. Decision logs, escalation paths, reliability monitoring, and clear fail-safes must be embedded into the architecture from inception. This requires deploying agent supervisors, humans who enter workflows at intentionally designed points to handle exceptions requiring their judgment. You must maintain the ability to pull the emergency brake. The enterprise transition to agentic AI is not just a software upgrade. It is a structural evolution in how work is owned and executed. An AI native enterprise does not merely use more AI tools. AI is no longer layered on top of existing human processes. The processes themselves are being rebuilt to accommodate non-human actors from the very beginning. Organizations must ask what decisions genuinely require human judgment, where risk justifies intervention, and what should never be delegated. We return to the glass-walled control room. The human is no longer the laborer. The human is the orchestrator, the governor of capital, and the supervisor of machine logic. But as these machines scale, a critical question demands an answer. As agentic systems begin independently negotiating and transacting with other AI agents across corporate boundaries, Who holds the ultimate legal and financial liability when a chain of autonomous decisions results in a critical failure?